What's up, my fellow Ooniers? My name is Richie, and like I promised yesterday in my Reddit post, I'm gonna create a video right now and teach you guys from start to finish the process of making a perfect Neapolitan style pizza in your Ooni pizza oven. We're gonna mix up the dough. We're gonna stretch and fold it. We're gonna let it rest. We're gonna stretch it and fold it. We're gonna let it rest. We're gonna stretch it and fold it one more time. We're gonna let it rest. We're gonna form it into dough balls. Then we're gonna stick it in the fridge. We're gonna let it chill in the fridge for 16 hours. And then tomorrow morning when that's ready, I'm gonna pull that dough out, let it come to room temperature, and then we're gonna go outside and we're gonna bake a perfect pizza. A little about me, I've had an Ooni pizza oven for like 7 years probably. And over the last like 6 years of having the pizza oven, I've made a lot of pizzas and they were good, they tasted good. But what I found was like the crust was super thick, it was super chewy, and I couldn't get it to look pretty. So back in January, I took the time to slow down and really learn the dough process. And what I realized is like dough's super simple to make. It doesn't have to be a process. So I'm gonna give you my dough recipe today. I use the pizza app dough calculator. So if you don't have that, grab that. I'll also post the dough recipe so you have that. But today I'm gonna make 4 dough balls, 63% hydration. I set the pizza dough app calculator to the right room temps for my room temp and my cold temp, so my refrigerator temperature, and it spits out the exact ingredients I need to put in. A couple things I wanna go over. Definitely important to have the right tools. Today I'm gonna mix the dough in a KitchenAid mixer. You don't have to do that. I've mixed it in a bowl. Comes out exactly the same as mixing it in a KitchenAid mixer. I'm gonna use the KitchenAid mixer today just to simplify things. And maybe Ooni will toss me one of those new Halo mixers to try out. Who knows? But the other things we need, scale, right? Super important to have a scale to weigh out the measurements of everything we need perfectly. I have 2 scales, so I have a 0.01 scale, which I use to measure out my my yeast, and then I have a bigger scale, which I use to measure out my water and my flour. That's a 0.1 scale. I'm going to use King Arthur's bread flour today. I've tried a bunch of different flours. They all work. They all do a little bit different things, but I found that when I'm having a bunch of people over and I want to make a bunch of pizzas, I use King Arthur's bread flour. Pizza comes out great, the dough comes out great, and Costco has the big bag, so it's good on price point. We're going to use Active Dry Yeast. I set that in my dough calculator. If you're going to use instant dry yeast, you can also do that. Make sure you set the right button and it'll tell you how much instant dry yeast to use. I'm using Red Star Active Dry Yeast. I've used Fleischmann's. I've used a couple different kinds. The only thing I would say here is make sure your yeast is still alive. So toss it in a bowl with some water. Make sure it froths up. If it's not alive, the dough's not going to rise, and we're going to have a terrible experience. I'm going to use Himalayan pink sea salt for my salt. That's what I've always used. I know a lot of people talk about different salts and what they do and blah, blah, blah. But for simplification purposes, Himalayan sea salt, what I've always used. I'm gonna use just filtered water. I'm in Arizona, the water isn't great, so definitely not gonna use tap water. I'm from New York, so I wish I could use the New York tap water, but we're gonna make do with what we've got. I also bought so if you have a KitchenAid mixer, I also bought this. I would highly recommend it. It's a spiral dough hook. The dough hook that comes with the KitchenAid mixer, I don't love. So once I bought this thing, mixing dough in the KitchenAid mixer has been a lot more simple. For this video, I did pre-measure out everything. I'm gonna post the pizza app calculator of exactly what you need for ingredients. But I already pre-measured them out because I need to make this video short so I can post it on Reddit. All right, so let's get into the dough process. So just to go over things, 63% hydration dough, 2.9% salt. We're gonna room temp that proof for 2 hours. We're gonna split that up into 30-minute increments. And then I'm gonna put it in the refrigerator for 16 hours. My recipe calls for 661 grams of flour. Got that pre-sorted. 417 grams of water, already measured out. I know a lot of people talk about temperature for the water. I just use regular room temperature water. I've done it with cold water, I've done it with hot water, I've done it with a mix of cold and hot water. Room temp water works just fine. 19 grams of salt, and then our yeast, right? I have 2.68 grams of yeast. Make sure you measure the yeast out properly. That's calculated to make the dough perfect in the amount of time that we're gonna make it. So my first step, what I do, take my water, put it in the bowl. So if you're using a KitchenAid mixer, put it in the bowl. If you're using a regular mixing bowl, put it in the mixing bowl. Then I'm gonna take my yeast and I'm gonna toss it in there. Make sure I get all the yeast in there. We're gonna give that a minute or so to soak in and activate. So while we're doing that, let me talk about a few things. When we go outside tomorrow, there's also super important things that you're gonna need. The right pizza peel. I used the wrong pizza peel for a long time, and that caused me to launch pizzas into the oven and rip them and cause a chaotic mess, a bunch of burning, all that good stuff. I'm also gonna teach you guys how to stretch the dough properly. There's a couple techniques we can do with that. I use semolina too, also a super important thing for me. Makes the dough slide pretty easy off the peel. And then I'm gonna show you guys too what I set my temperatures for my pizza oven at. I usually get it to about 700 to 750 degrees, crank it way up, let it get to that. I use a infrared thermometer to check the stone to make sure it's about the same. And then when I launch the pizza, I turn the flame down a little bit so it doesn't burn the top and gives the bottom the right amount of time to cook. And then if I need to, I'll crank the flame up at the end and brown up the top. So it's been a minute or two, so I'm gonna just, what I would say is use a spoon, or I'm gonna just turn the mixer on and just mix up the water and yeast, just so it blends a little bit. And then my next step is we are gonna take our flour, right? Like I said, 661 grams of flour. So I'm just gonna add that right to my mixer. You can do it in steps, or usually I just pour it all in. So I'm gonna put the mixer on low. If you're using a bowl and a spoon, just mix it all up to the point where it all comes together. It doesn't have to look pretty, it doesn't have to look smooth. We're gonna get to the smoothing process in a little bit. So let me mix this up a little bit and then I'll show you what it looks like in the bowl. 63% hydration, so it shouldn't be too sticky, shouldn't stick to the sides of the bowl. If it does a little bit, not a big deal, because we're gonna use the bowl that we mix it up in to proof it. Really all we wanna do is get the water and the yeast and the flour mixed together. So once it comes into a little ball, then I'm gonna add my salt. If you're mixing it in a bowl, also add your salt. I do it a little bit at a time. And then we're just gonna mix it up, make sure the salt incorporates all in the dough. So once I get a nice dough ball that's not super sticky, I'm gonna pull it out. If you're using a bowl, pull it out too. Shouldn't be sticky enough where it's gonna stick to the counters. If it does, you can put just a tiny little bit of flour, but we don't wanna change the hydration in the dough, so don't use too much flour. But I'd probably mix that for maybe a minute and a half. But here's kind of what my dough looks like. So now I'm gonna dump it out, and I'm just gonna knead it by hand just for a little bit. Just take it, throw my palms into it, roll it, throw my palms into it. Same thing. And the goal here is just really to get it into the shape of a ball. It's gonna feel a little shaggy, it's gonna look a little shaggy, but that's fine. because our next step is what we're gonna do is we're gonna let it sit for a half an hour. And that's where the yeast is gonna build up and the gluten's gonna form, and it's gonna come, turn into the starts of what we need for a dough. Like I said, I needed that for about, I don't know, a minute or so. Then I'm just gonna roughly form it into a ball. It's gonna look super shaggy, not gonna look pretty, but wait and see what we get in about a half an hour. So here's my dough. What I'm gonna do next, put it back in the mixing bowl I used. I'm gonna grab a towel, and then I'm just gonna throw the towel right over the bowl. And we're gonna let it sit for about a half an hour. Pretty much exactly a half an hour. So if you wanna set your timer, go do some things, come back in a half an hour, and I'll tell you what to do next. All right, I'm back. It's been about 30 minutes, pretty much on the money. So next step, we got our dough. Still looks like this. It didn't rise much, but that's okay. Not going to. So we got our dough. We're gonna take our dough out, place it right on the same surface. And if you can see, the bottom of your dough should look a little bit smoother. So in this process, all we're gonna do is stretch and fold. So we're gonna make 4 stretch and folds. We're gonna form it back into a ball, then we're gonna put it back in the bowl and cover it and wait another 30 minutes. Simple process for stretch and fold. You got your dough. Just gonna hold one side. I'm gonna I'm just gonna kind of hold the middle. And I'm gonna pull from one side out, and I'm gonna fold it over. And I'm gonna do the same thing on the top. Pull out, fold over. Rotate it, pull out, fold over. Rotate it, pull out, fold over. I'm gonna flip it over so the soft side's down. And you'll be able to see that the dough has gotten a lot smoother. And it might feel a little bit bigger too. So then we're just gonna take this, form it into a ball. Make sure the bottom's a little pinched, and then right back in our bowl. And we're gonna cover it up for another 30 minutes. All right, guys, I'm back. It's been another 30-ish, well, I'd say 35 minutes. Kind of did that on purpose, just to let you guys know, this doesn't have to be exact, okay? We're 5 minutes off, 5 minutes longer, that's fine. If you're 5 minutes early, you might see some issues with the dough. So a little bit longer is fine, a little bit shorter, not good. So we're gonna do the same process. We're gonna pull it out. You're gonna definitely notice the dough should be a little bit bigger. You're gonna feel it get a lot smoother now. So pull the dough out. We're gonna do the exact same stretch and fold process. So my dough definitely looks smoother. Should feel a little bit softer. Should feel a little bit easier to work with. So we're just gonna stretch, pull it in, stretch, pull it in, rotate, stretch, pull it in, rotate, stretch, pull it in. So all 4 sides got stretched and fold right into the middle. Flip it over. We're gonna do a little bit more ball shaping. You can see the dough is gonna get a lot smoother on the outside. It's gonna be a little bit fluffier. We got it back into our ball. And then it's gonna go right back in the bowl. We're gonna cover it up. So now we're at about an hour past when we mix the dough. So we're gonna do this one more time, so it's gonna get us to an hour and a half. So one more time of stretch and folds, add an hour and a half. We're gonna let it sit to get us to that 2 hour point. Then we're gonna split it up into dough balls. So I'll see you guys in a half an hour. Okay, we're back. It's been another half an hour. So this will be we'll be at 1 hour and a half right now of letting the dough rest. Here's what it looks like. Obviously it's gotten bigger. Looks like it's smoother. We're gonna do the same process here. Pull it out. You can tell right away the dough is formed, the gluten's formed. Yeah. So same stretch and folds. Obviously the dough is going to be a little bit more easy to stretch. 1, 2, 3, 4. Same process as before. Look how smooth that is though. Much smoother, right? Much airier, much fluffier. All right, form it into a ball. It's gonna be a little airy too, that's fine. No big deal. It's kind of what we want. Make sure the bottom's a little sealed up. Then a ball, and right back in our thing. We're gonna cover it up, and we're gonna let that sit until it gets to 2 hours. All right, so we got another half an hour left. Here's where we can prep our storage containers, because we're gonna put it in the fridge next. I got a couple things you can use. If you don't have a dough box, I have a dough proofing box, which I got on Amazon. If you don't have a proofing box, that's fine. I'm gonna use a proofing box for this just because I know it fits in the fridge. I can fit all 4 doughs in. Also have the Ooni stackables. These work pretty good too. Only comes with 3. I'm making 4. So you can use those. Also, if you don't have those, any like airtight container will work. Whatever you're gonna use, you're gonna either put some olive oil in it or like a cooking spray. Doesn't matter. We just want to coat it so they come out pretty easy. So I'm gonna use the proofing box. I'm gonna coat it. It's only 4 doughs, so they're not gonna stick together because I don't have to put them too close together. But if I have 6, obviously I want to make sure the sides are all covered and all that good stuff. So that's prepped. The dough's got to proof for another 30 minutes. So I'll see you back here in 30 minutes. And at that point, we're gonna split up the dough into 4 balls. We're gonna roll them into tight balls. We're gonna throw them in the box or the container, whatever you're gonna store them in to cold proof them. And then we're done until tomorrow morning. All right guys, I'm back. It's been 2 hours. So our dough is ready to go. It's ready to ball up and put in the fridge. So this process is gonna dump our dough out. Then we're gonna split it up into 4 dough balls. The dough at this point should be super soft, super smooth. So I got my dough splitter, whatever you call this. You can use a knife, whatever, use your hands. But I'm just gonna kind of eyeball it. So we're gonna obviously lose a little bit of, so my goal was 275 gram dough balls. We're gonna lose a little bit in there, some stuck to the inside of the bowl, whatever. So I'm gonna look at, I'm gonna weigh them both, get the full amount. So that's 560, 527. So about 1100. So we're gonna split that. It's pretty close to 1100. So we're gonna make these into 270 gram dough balls. And if they're a little bit bigger, a little bit smaller than each other, like 5 grams off, not a big deal. So just gonna cut them up and weigh them. 284, 267, 279. So that one's pretty close. And then 261. So a couple of these need a little bit more. So to do that, we're just gonna cut off the bigger one. 279, I'm just gonna cut off a little bit. This one's 261, so I'm gonna take what I cut off, just put it right on top. It's 271, so that one's good. 267, 284 is big. 269, so the 284 one I'm gonna cut off is about 270. 270, 269, 271, 267. So I'm gonna add a little bit to that. 272. I'm gonna add. Just put the dough that you add on right on the top. 267. So we'll add a little to that. 272. So they're all right around 270, 271. And what we're gonna do now is we got our dough balls. Kind of gonna use the same procedure we did when we were stretching and folding. I'm just gonna stretch, fold to the middle, stretch, fold to the middle. We're gonna try to make it into a little ball. Stretch, fold into the middle, stretch, fold into the middle, stretch, fold into the middle. So now I got like a, kind of like a ball. The smooth side here. So I'm gonna lay it on the counter. I'm just gonna use my hands and pull it in and form it into a ball. Hands, pull in, form into a ball. Same thing, just pinch it in so we're gonna get a nice tight ball. I got a ball. Gonna make sure the bottom is sealed up. Just like that. I got a dough ball. So that's gonna go right in my dough box. So I'll do it again. You guys watch. Got my dough, stretch and fold. Into the middle. Stretch and fold into the middle. Stretch and fold into the middle. Stretch, fold, middle. Stretch, fold, middle. So I kind of got a ball. Then we're gonna use our hands here. I don't know if you guys can see it. And just pull it in, rotate, pull it in, rotate, pull it in, rotate, pull it in, rotate. You get a nice tight dough ball. Use the spinning motion. Seal up the bottom. And there you go. There you have it, dough ball. One more time. Stretch, fold, stretch, fold, stretch, fold, stretch, fold. Unlike when we were doing the 4 stretch and folds, this is probably like 4 to 6 stretch and folds to get it more into a ball shape. So we got it into a ball shape. And then we're gonna start from the outside, pull in, rotate. Start from the outside, pull in, rotate. And just rotate it into a ball. Got a nice tight ball here. You seal it up. Should look pretty smooth on top too. Last one, last try, ready? Stretch, fold, stretch, fold, stretch, fold, stretch, fold, stretch, fold. So I did probably 5 there, right? So I got my kind of formed dough ball. We're gonna take it, roll it in, rotate it, roll it in, rotate it, roll it in. Take the bottom of your hands and kind of just form it into a ball. Spin it, form it into a ball. Doesn't have to be perfect. The tighter the ball, the better. And then we're gonna seal up our bottom. Nice dough ball, right in. So our box has 4 dough balls. Now it's time to just toss these in the fridge. We're gonna let them go for 16 hours. So I'm gonna seal it up, put them right in the fridge. And that's it. So our dough is in the fridge. Now we just gotta let it sit. The key is don't touch it. We don't need to touch it. If you wanna open it and look at it tomorrow morning, that's cool too. Should flatten out a little bit, turn more into like a flat dough. But I'll come back in the morning and I'll show you what that looks like. And then for tomorrow, we'll go over our steps tomorrow and take the dough out, you know, around the 16-hour mark when it's ready. I'm gonna leave it on the counter. That needs to come to room temperature. When I do that is when I go outside and start my pizza oven. So take the dough out, put it on the counter. I'm I'm gonna go outside and fire up my pizza oven, put it on high. I want the pizza oven to get to 750-ish. So that's gonna give the dough balls a good amount of time and the oven a good amount of time to heat up. And then from there, I'll come back tomorrow and we'll do that video. Sounds good? All right, guys, welcome back. So it's been 16 hours. I checked the dough a little while ago to see if it proofed up and everything looks good. So I'm gonna get it out of the fridge right now, and then I'm gonna go over my toppings for outside. So this step, all we're doing is taking the pizza dough out of the fridge. We wanna cool that to room temperature. So usually I take it out 30, 35, 40 minutes before I'm gonna actually bake it. Sometimes I take it out a little earlier, but usually I'll do that and then go fire up my pizza oven. So we'll take that out, and I'm gonna fire up the pizza oven, so I'll take the camera outside and we'll do that too. All right, here's what our dough looks like. Got 4 good dough balls. They all puffed up. They got a nice little shine to them. They're ready to go. So we're just gonna chill those on the counter right now. It's like 74 degrees in my apartment, so it shouldn't take that long for them to get to room temperature. So a couple things I wanna go over for outside. So usually at this point too, I'll set up my outside area. The 3 things I'm gonna take out. I have a bowl of semolina. This I use to dust this surface that I make the pizza on. I also roll the dough balls in it when I take them out of the dough box. Gives a nice, easy texture that we can use to, manipulate the dough and get it into a round circle. Also makes it slide off the peel, super easy. I have San Marzano tomatoes. I put a little bit of garlic, a little bit of salt, and I put basil in it. Just mix it up. Doesn't need to be baked or cooked, sorry. Does not need to be cooked. Salt, basil, garlic, tomatoes. That's all you need. And then I have some fresh mozzarella. I always use fresh mozzarella. If you use the bag mozzarella from the store, it's got that binding crap in it and it burns. So get the fresh mozzarella. Trader Joe's has it, Costco has it, grocery stores have it. Much, much better for pizza. Usually what I'll do with that too is take it out and kind of like rinse it out to try to get all the water out of it. The more water we have in the mozzarella, it's gonna sit on top of the pizza and make the pizza nice and soggy. We don't want that. All right, so I'm gonna go outside now and show you guys the outside setup. All right guys, we made it outside. Next step, fire up the pizza oven. I have the Koda 2 Max. You can use Koda 16, Koda 12, any pizza oven really. My goal here is to get this to about 750 degrees. Koda 2 Max has the temperature sensor built into it. So I'm gonna turn that on. I do have the infrared thermometer too, so I can check the stone. I'm gonna crank the pizza oven up to high. Sometimes my right side of my Koda 2 Max doesn't want to light. Maybe Ooni can help me with that one. I don't know. Just gotta be patient and I'll get it going. There we go. So I got the flame on high. We're gonna let that go for, it's probably gonna take about 30 minutes, which is a perfect time to let the dough come to room temperature. All right, now I'm gonna show you my prep station. So like I talked about earlier, semolina, got my mozzarella, my sauce. That's all I really need out here. The other thing I'm gonna grab, which I'll show you in a minute, is, well, I'll actually show it to you when I take the dough out of the dough box. I use a dough scraper to get the dough out. Super important for that because we don't want the dough to get disformed when we're pulling it out. So it's almost like a paint chipper scraper thing. So we just use that. Pry the dough out, plop it right in the semolina. And then on the right side, I'm gonna build my pizza over here. I'm gonna stretch it out over here. And then from there, we're gonna go launch it. Two things I wanted to talk about earlier. I think I mentioned them at the beginning, not sure. Super important to have the right tools. This was a game changer for me. I got a perforated pizza peel, right? I was using wood for a long time. Then I got the plain metal Ooni one, no holes in it. I was struggling launching pizza. Now I have the perforated peel. It's got a nice, smooth finish on it. Super easy to launch pizza from here. Super easy to pick it up from the table too. And then I got my turning peel. This is how I'm gonna turn the pizza in the oven. I'll show you that in a bit. All right, my oven's at probably around 700 degrees, so pretty close. It's gonna take me a minute or two, maybe 5 minutes to make the pizza. So usually what I'll do is start making the pizza, and by the time I get back over here, the oven's gonna be ready. So let's rotate over to pizza time. Try to get this close so you guys can see it. All right, so I have my dough. Oh, shit. I'll be right back. All right, so we're back to the pizza side. We're gonna build this pizza. Shouldn't take long, not super hard to do. First thing I want to show you is how to get the dough out. This is the thing I was talking about. It's just like a little paint scraper. I got mine at Home Depot. They sell pizza ones, pretty much the exact same thing. So I'm gonna take that. Usually what I'll do is I'll dip this in semolina, get a little semolina on there. And then I'm gonna come under my dough, right? And I'm just gonna kind of pry it out. My goal here is to keep the dough ball in a good form. So I have it still in the exact same form I want, right? On my pizza scraper. Then I plop it right in the semolina. We'll flip it around, coat all the sides of it, get a good coating on there. And then I'm gonna take that dough, I'm gonna put it right in. So I already put a bunch of semolina on my building table, and I'm gonna put this right in the middle of it. And that's where we're gonna push out the dough. So hopefully I can get you guys a good thing. So push out the dough. Very simple. We're just gonna use kind of like a triangular motion. We're gonna start right in the middle. 1, 2, 3. And we're gonna take the dough, we're gonna flip it straight over. Same thing, push from the middle. 1, 2, 3. So now we have a pushed out dough ball. Then we're gonna do some stretches. Kind of similar to what we were doing yesterday, but we're gonna use a technique. So the technique I wanna use is I'm gonna put my hand, my palm here from the left side, but you wanna make sure you don't pinch out on the edges because we wanna keep the air in the edges. So I'm gonna just take my palm, pull out, right? Fold it over my hand, rotate 90 degrees. Palm in the middle, pull out. Fold it over my hand, rotate 90 degrees. Practice this, you can get pretty quick at it. This is a good dough to practice on because it's got a good amount of elasticity. So we're gonna do that a bunch of times till we get it, pretty much out to maybe like a 12 incher. My goal here is 14 incher. So I have that. I got pretty round dough here. And I'm gonna just pick it up and stretch it a little bit with the palms with my knuckles. So just making sure you're not touching the outside of that dough, the edge where we want the crust. We're just gonna form this into a little bit bigger of a circle. Make sure you don't get the middle of the dough too thin. If you do that, the pizza's gonna get soggy in the middle. So I can wipe some of my semolina off. We don't need it all. The dough shouldn't stick to the counter. If you need a little more semolina, it's fine. If we're using the perforated peel, we don't need it because it's all, or you can use it, it's all gonna fall off. That's the point of the holes in the peel. Now I'm gonna I got my dough stretched out. I'm gonna add my sauce. Just a little bit of sauce. We don't want too much sauce. If we put too much sauce on this, it's gonna get soggy, not gonna bake all the way through. About a scoop and a half of sauce. Push it all the way to the edges. Make sure you leave some room at the edges so the pizza can puff up. Boom. Done. Now I got my cheese. I kind of shredded up my fresh mozz. Just spread that out. Kind of do it evenly. Make sure all the parts got it. We don't need too much cheese. If we put too much cheese, like traditional margarita, it doesn't have a ton of cheese on it. It's gonna melt. It's gonna melt out wider. There we have our pizza. Now, we're gonna get this guy on the peel. Super easy here too. This doesn't have to be complicated. The one motion, it's quick motion. So we want this to be about 40 degrees, 45 degrees. Not flat, not too high up. We're gonna just put our fingers under the edge of the dough, slide this right under, right? If you slide it under, you only get half, you can just wiggle it on. And then we're gonna take the dough here, we're gonna just stretch it out, make a little bit bigger of a pizza. Make sure we keep that rounded shape. I mean, it's all gonna taste the same. It doesn't come out rounded anyways. But we got a pretty round pizza here. This is ready to go. So I'm gonna rotate over to the pizza oven side. Get you guys a good view of this. My pizza oven's at 743, just about perfect for what I wanna cook it. So I'm gonna launch it, and then I'm gonna turn the flame right down. I'm gonna come over here so you guys can see it. Launch is super easy. Quick, one motion. We're gonna toss it in, pull back. Ready? Boom, pizza's in. Then I'm gonna turn my flame down. Move this down so you guys can see the pizza cook. Turn my flame right down. I can always brown out the edges at the end. Then I'm gonna grab my turning peel. And we're just gonna turn this sucker nonstop. Right, and that you'll see the edges start to puff up. So I would give it maybe 30 seconds for the bottom to get nice and toasty before you turn it, and then we're just gonna slide under. I'm gonna pull it out a little so you guys can see it. And then to turn, pick it up, and you spin. And then I give it about 5 seconds. Let it cook, turn, spin, right? Turn it at about 40 degrees. You can turn it 90 degrees if you want. I got heat on both sides, so theoretically I only have to flip this 90 degrees, but we just keep going, turning. The bottom's gonna get a little bit brown, crust is gonna start to puff up. We get those little fermentation spots, which is perfect, exactly what we want. We're getting the brown spots on the crust. It's looking like a pretty damn good pizza, guys. Boom, starting to get brown. Cheese is starting to melt. I can hear the sauce bubbling a little bit. So the reason we don't cook the sauce is it's gonna cook in the oven here. Boom, starting to get nice and brown. This looks like a great pizza. Bottom's getting cooked up. I don't know if you guys can see that, but boom, turn it a little bit. If you want to put it a little closer to the flame, get your dough a little bit crispier on the top, you can, totally fine. It will cook though. So I get to this point where I can tell it's pretty much almost done. I'm gonna shut the flame right off. If you're gonna cook another pizza, obviously don't do that. Then I'm just gonna hold the pizza up. The top of the oven's gonna be super hot. So I'm gonna just brown up the top. Brown up the top. I can feel that my bottom of my crust is pretty darn good. And there we have it, guys. Pull it out. There's a margarita pizza for you. All right, what I'm gonna do next, I'm gonna take this inside and I'm gonna put it on a cooling rack. If you put it right on a pan, the moisture from the pizza is gonna sit underneath it. It's gonna make the crust soggy. Put it on a cooling rack, give a little space underneath it. It'll be, it'll keep the crust, it's nice and crispy. This crust looks perfect though. See you guys in a minute. All right, guys, we're back inside. Got my pizza on the cooling rack. It's ready to go. It's margarita, so I'm gonna throw some little basil on it. Boom, got basil. I put a little olive oil on it too. Graza, can't go wrong with that. Drizzle some olive oil, get a little on the outside crust, and boom, we got a margarita pizza. I sometimes will grab my pecorino romano. I'll put some of that on it too. for the purpose of the pizza today, because I'm gonna eat it. I'm gonna throw some on it. Probably doesn't go on a traditional margarita, but boom, and there you have it. Margarita pizza from start to finish. I'm gonna post a video too with a couple follow-up things, just to go over a couple reminders for you. But let's get a little good look at this pizza here. How's it look? Crust looks perfect. We'll check the bottom. Bottom looks perfect. That's a margarita. It's a margarita for you guys.